Hello there, today we, Group 14, will be presenting 5 main service design tools, which includes research plan, personas, service prototype, journey, and system maps. Upon our first meeting, we had collectively shared our thoughts on the direction of our project. We had initially tried to find common points of struggle or inconveniences in our daily lives as means to start brainstorming for the ideas to what our needs as consumers are. Whilst discussing, Annie had thought of a similarity amongst us. Uniquely, all members of the group were international students. Especially with the upcoming holidays and the ongoing pandemic, we all felt a sense of longing for home and family. Towards the direction of wanting to connect with our family and friends, we had approached the problem from a more traditional standing point, which were letters and care packages. Building upon this concept, we continued to propose several solutions to this need, and by the end, we were able to unanimously vote on creating a service that allowed users to send do-it-yourself festive kits to loved ones. Also, to make things easier and more presentable, we had chosen to present our project through a business case study of Starbucks. The idea of DIY kits will include all of the necessary ingredients to allow recipients to create versions of Starbucks products, all from the comfort of one's home. Not only are we gifting our family and friends with a holiday gift, but it also reflects the sentiments of the sender to the recipient, which align with our original objectives, thus the inspiration behind our holiday Starbucks campaign, Share the Warmth. With that identified concept, we began to further organize the approach towards the service design tools. From that, we also managed to assign roles amongst ourselves, as well as setting a timeline to keep track of our progress.
After we all agree on this idea, I start to make the research plan. Research plan is a document that clarifies how to approach the research, touching upon research goals, select methodologies, type of participants and tools used, timeline and locations. And it is important to have a research plan in advance to maximizing the efforts and modeling activities. Our investigator included Heather, Annie, Hank, Carrie, and Frank. Talk about our customer target for this research project. We're going to focus on friends and relatives who live abroad and they might be interested about our service. About our first idea, when it comes to Christmas, everyone thinks about the gifts for their friends and families. There is always a gift lying beside the Christmas tree on Christmas in everyone's childhood. After growing up, people like to play gifts exchange and friends during Christmas. And a couple likes to send gifts in this special day. In order to let people keep in touch with each other from distance, Santabucks from Starbucks mobile app and website campaign can give a hand to complete the gift exchange or send your wishes to your lover during Christmas. Come up with the timeline about our whole plan. We're supposed to have 2 offline meetings, and for other days we do online meeting and divided some works with self-research. Finally, we come up with the final content and complete it. Although we planned whole research at first, in fact, we went through 2 prototypes and major upgrades and several online meetings to final up with the final project. A mixture of tools include research plan, personas, journey system maps, and prototype. Has been applied flexibility to ensure the feasibility of the product.
Simultaneously, while the other group members were researching into their respective service design tools, I was tasked with designing a bespoke service prototype for the Starbucks mobile app in relevance to the Santabucks campaign. Thinking about the approach towards producing a service prototype, I had initially thought of creating an actual application simulation product. However, given the limited time and resources at hand, I decided to illustrate the different stages to the mobile app instead. Displayed on the screen here are the initial rough draft sketches and first mock-up application samples. As I personally own an iPad, I had access to an Apple software called Procreate, which ultimately enabled me to create such graphics. As you can see, most of the designing process was recycled from the existing app or was hand-drawn. Hence, to those who may be familiar with the brand's app, the samples may bear a significant similarity, as I had used the existing app's layout as a reference for the designs. The first draft had consisted of 6 pages, including the home page, information page, food and drinks page, checkout, and contact details page. Admittedly, At this point, I had a narrow understanding on the needs of the concept and was only able to account for the bare minimum requirements of a design prototype.
After the research plan, we decided to create fictional profiles, what called personas, representing some particular targeted audience groups. These personas enable the team to simulate the engagement with the targeted audience in the next steps. Put in the context of launching a Christmas campaign for Starbucks, I have created 3 personas by practicing 2 data collection methods. The first one is participants' observation. I have observed real Starbucks customers on 2 stores. One is on Liverpool Street. This is the area that located many office buildings. Therefore, the main audience observed are white-collar workers or professionals. And the second store is in Tottenham Court Road. This is the area that located a large number of universities, tourist attractions, and shopping malls. As a consequence, the majority of customers observed here in this store are students and tourists. The second method is autoethnography, so I have done a reflection on my previous knowledge about the brand's targeted audience, together with reading research available about Starbucks' current customer personas. Then I converge all the information collected, process them to create 3 specific personas for this program. The first persona is Frank, a young Taiwanese tourist visiting London during Christmas and New Year holiday. He's a young extrovert with an active lifestyle and a high inclination towards creativity. Some of his major interests highlight social media, traveling, photography, and vlogging. Being a tourist in a foreign country, Frank poses some specific behaviors. He seeks advice on traveling websites like TripAdvisor or Design My Night. He looks forward to exploring native experience and lifestyle. He often check-ins on social media like Facebook or Instagrams, and he always remembers to buy gifts for family, relatives, and friends after traveling. The second persona is Heather, an on-the-go international student who has been living in the UK for 6 years. She evaluates herself as a fairly creative and active extrovert. She enjoys hanging out with friends, self-studying in library or coffee shops, drawing, and do-it-yourself art and crafts. In particular, she's actually busy studying on weekdays and often cope with stressful deadlines from university. Therefore, she can only hang out with friends or go shopping on weekends. The fast studying pace makes her prefer on-the-go lifestyle, and she's scheduled to call her family in her hometown 1 or 2 times a week. The last persona is Annie, a health-conscious foreign professional who has been working in the banking industry in the UK for 2 years. Unlike the other 2 personas, she's kind of an analytical person rather than creative. Because of the nature of her job, she's interested in updating daily news, especially on securities and investment banking. She loves drinking customized coffee in the morning, but she also has to work overtime and often come home really late. Every day she spends a lot of time commuting to work and can only hang out with friends on weekends. She always remembers to send gifts to her family and friends at her home country on special occasions like birthday or Lunar New Year.
Based on the personas from my teammate, I was able to look at occupations, routines, and habits of each customer to see how they might respond to every process of the product. However, during the research process, I realized some shortcomings about the service. For instance, as we can see in Persona 1, the customer was unhappy because the gift is unavailable to be displayed at store, so he couldn't see how the product actually looks like. It leads to the possibility of customers buying a product that is different from their needs. For Persona 2, as a student, the delivery fee is quite costly as it's cross-country. We can add the student discount on delivery service to improve the problem. And for Persona 3, the customer was unhappy because there's no special service for Starbucks loyal customer. If we send a small gift to the customer, will be nice. Therefore, I recommend those points to the group so that we can improve our services.
Considering Carrie's recommendations, we decided to make some changes and upgrade to our Santabucks service to ensure a seamless and convenient journey for potential customers. With the second idea, all 5 members has to do a deeper research and retouch their current work accordingly.
A system map can be a visual or physical description of the main elements of an organization, a service, or a digital and physical product. System maps have current state systems and future state systems to demonstrate the impact of the decisions, new components, or change relationships. Also, a system map can be regarded as a tool to analyze future prediction, potential benefits, and drawbacks in the system. In addition, there are three different types of system maps: a stakeholder map, an ecosystem map, and a value network map. In my part, I'll use an ecosystem map to explain the connections between different stakeholders in our case. While users browse Starbucks website or use its mobile app to order Christmas gifts for their friends and families, they may link with many different communities, institutions, and roles, such as shops, delivery enterprises, and email suppliers. First of all, shops will receive orders from users, and when they complete selecting and customizing items, they will connect to the delivery enterprises and transport gifts to receivers. Second, while they have customized their orders and completed the payment, they will receive a confirmation email to check their orders to ensure their orders is valid. Meanwhile, users can use confirmation emails to check their parcels and give feedback about the whole buying process. In the previous part, three people with different personalities are stimulated by the Christmas gift information from social media, in-store advertisements, or email marketing. For example, Persona 1, Frank, loves traveling, so he may receive information about the Christmas presents from advertisement by trip advisors. Most importantly, because people have different habits in life, they receive information in drastically different ways, such as relationship recommendations, online advertisements, or peer referrals. Finally, to maintain the quality of customers' user experience while placing orders on the website or app, IT services play a vital role. IT services offer customers and producers quick connection with delivery enterprises, email companies, and financial services.
Frank, a young tourist, stumbled across the Santabucks advertisement on TripAdvisor and was curious enough to click on the Starbucks website on his computer. Although the Christmas gift sounded appealing, he was a little hesitant as he couldn't see the actual product in the store. He decided to place his order on the website, but as he waited for the items to be sent, Frank was concerned that it would not be as good as he thought it would be. Luckily, after receiving the confirmation email, the recipient told him that the gift was beautifully wrapped and hadn't been damaged in the cross-country shipping process. As a busy office worker, Annie needs her daily caffeine intake, and when she walked into Starbucks one day to buy a coffee, she saw a poster advertising a Christmas service called Santabucks. Annie was surprised to find a wide selection of products on her mobile phone, which made her feel happy. After checking out on her phone, Annie remembered that she is a Starbucks member and was a little upset that she couldn't accumulate points on her Santabucks purchase history. After the items were sent out, Annie was disappointed to find that as a loyal Starbucks customer, she didn't receive any special services, such as a little Christmas card. Heather is an international student studying in the UK. She was chatting with her classmates in class when she happened to hear them recommend Santabucks service for Christmas, a gift that Heather thought was memorable and reasonably priced. So she quickly decided to order the item on the Starbucks mobile app. During the selection process, she was satisfied and paid soon as the mobile interface was very clear. However, Heather was a bit disappointed to find out that the gift had been delivered to her family and friends after Christmas. But if the express delivery option had been available, the gift would have been delivered before Christmas.
Once we have finished conducting our respective researching, we all came together to discuss our findings and shared our thoughts once again. With a completed first sample design, I was able to gain useful feedback from teammates. Upon doing so, I took into consideration the suggestions of the group members and refined the mobile app designs, as well as designing an additional website prototype. Similarly to the first draft, the second draft contained components displaying the campaign banner, food, drinks, and contact details. However, in the updated draft, we decided to also include a merchandise page, festive kit, and packaging selections page, as well as a tracking page on the website. From this group project experience, I can see why the process to developing a prototype can often take such a long time, as it requires repeated adjustments and refinements towards the service or product. In order to provide consumers with an effective communication tool such as our app, a constant simulation on the tool is very important to stay up to date with the needs of users. This is why we will be presenting the service design samples to participants to test out and to receive external feedback from them as well. To provide a more detailed outline of the service prototype, the newly improved upon applications can be succinctly summarized into 4 main parts: the Santabucks campaign introduction, kit selection, item selection, and packaging options. Within the kit selection, there are 3 options available where customers can choose between gifting 3 items, 5 items, or 7 items. Available items range from a diverse set of merchandise products to beverages and/or food recipes. Subsequently, once the customer has finished selecting their choice of kit option and items, details regarding sender and recipient information will be required, such as contact details and custom messages. And finally, in accordance to the holiday spirits, our campaign also involves choosing a packaging theme, as it is shown in the design samples. Once the order has been paid for and processed, a confirmation email as well as tracking details will be sent to the customer regarding their order. Additionally, although it has not been illustrated obviously in the prototype samples, I would like to highlight that regular customers who have an existing account or customers who are willing to create an account will be given a 15% discount on their second holiday campaign order.
After collecting all the feedback from the questionnaire, we hold an offline meeting for the 3rd time and take into consideration all the feedback given. Some improvements have been applied to upgrade our service, which are including multiple languages on the application and website, or providing more merchandise options except from food and drink on the gift set.
Reflecting upon the feedback that we have received from the participants, we have noted that a certain request regarding languages and accessibility has been raised. However, due to the nature of our project, this request would be something which we would further develop in the later stages. Most data collected from participants are shown to be positive, which shows that our intended holiday campaign was successfully received. However, we also recognize and acknowledge that our small sampling size may be a potential limiting factor. With some final touch-ups and several minor revisions, displayed on the screen are the final versions of the service prototype.
Okay, so this is our final meeting in our group, and we're gonna conclude all the project. So for my part, I participate in the research plan, and I feel that all the methods are connected together. In research plan, I think that is good to plan all the things at first. It boosts our project, clarified all the things we need to do. But it still got some drawback. Like we cannot all rely on the research plan because it still got many changes inside, like we actually do in the project. So what do you think, Annie?
Yeah, I think the research plan kind of set a solid premise for all of us to do our task. For example, for my personas, I think that the methods of creating fictional characters is really useful for design thinking because you're gonna have like a character to interact with, and it provides better simulative interactions in next step to like journey mapping and system mappings. However, I think that personals also have some drawbacks because the data collected mostly based on stereotype about small groups, so sometimes it's not reliable. So when it comes to professional work, it may not be, not trustworthy. So how about your journey mapping?
In my opinion, the most notable benefit of journey map is that we can easily assess how the customer thinking and behavior change at each step. So we can comprehend our customers' demand and visualize by their thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, in ecosystem mapping, advantages are really similar with the journey mapping. However, ecosystem mapping has a biggest drawback is that it has too many ingredients so that a designer cannot understand full of a system. Yeah, how about the prototyping?
From my experience, I think the greatest benefit to prototyping is its accessibility, as for it can be accessed by large organizations and small groups like ours. Especially since prototyping is to provide like an accurate service or product simulation for consumers. I think one of the drawbacks to prototyping include its potential waste of resources, as if there are no clear objectives set, then there's no point in giving it to consumers' needs or wants. And that concludes our compare and contrast for the service design tools. Thank you for listening in to our presentation.
Thank you.